Good evening and welcome to the October 4th, 2023 City Council on Housing Authority meeting. Before we begin our meeting, I'll ask Assistant City Attorney to provide an update on closed session.
So the City Council met in closed session with its negotiating team tonight to discuss labor negotiations for employee groups, Roseville Police Association, International Union of Operating Engineers, Stationary Engineers Local 39, and Management Confidential employees, unrepresented employees. The City Council received a report, and the City Council gave guidance with no reportable action, and the closed session adjourned at 5:54 this evening.
Thank you very much. Now I will ask the City Clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll start our roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Here.
Councilmember Albert.
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Here.
Councilmember Rakucci's excused tonight, and Mayor Haldeshelt.
Here.
Thank you.
And I would like to ask Nick to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands,
One nation,
under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice job. Thank you very much. Where are we going next? Meeting procedures. I'll ask the clerk to read the meeting procedures.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 4th City of Roseville Regular Council Meeting and Housing Authority Meeting. Agendas are available at the end of the staff table to your right or online at the city's website. All comments from the public should be directed to the City Council and not to staff members or the audience. All speakers must speak from the podium as this meeting is being recorded. For comments on non-agenda items, members of the public may address the City Council regarding any item not listed on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Public comments on non-agenda items will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The collective initial period for this section is 25 minutes. Any speaker that does not have the opportunity to speak during this segment will have an opportunity at the end of the council meeting just before council comments to express their comments and concerns. The Brown Act does prohibit our City Council from taking action, debating, or discussing items not listed on the agenda. For comments on agendized items, speakers will have 5 minutes to provide their input that should be relevant to the items that are appearing on the agenda tonight. Time will be monitored, and once the red light begins to blink at the podium, we request that the speaker please conclude their comments. Lastly, if addressing the City Council, please consider stating your name for the record. With that, thank you for your civic participation tonight, and welcome to the City of Roseville.
All right, thank you very much. We'll start with public comment on non-agenda items. If you come to the podium, we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Nick Bryant. I'd like to address some issues in downtown Roseville with our homeless population that has taken over Royal Park and some of the problems in downtown Roseville. We need to start waking up. We need to start getting our homeless population downtown Roseville into permanent housing. We need to look at homeless shelters. We need to look at the Gathering Inn. We need to talk to the Gathering Inn. We need to get these homeless people services. You know, we have had issues in downtown Sacramento with some homeless people being on the streets, and I've had problems with homeless people in the past because they have asked me for money in downtown Sacramento. I've had issues with them because they have asked me for money a couple times, and I'm getting fed up with this crap. I'm tired of the homeless people asking me for money. And like today, I was at Water Avenue, like somebody gave a homeless person money for panhandling because, we were told, don't give the homeless people money because they're going to grab some alcohol. So we need to say, enough is enough. It's time to get California to wake up, and it's time to clean up our homeless camps, and it's time to get together with our law enforcement agencies, with San Francisco, Roseville PD, Placerville PD, Elmore County Sheriff's Office. It's time to get all of us together so we can work out our solutions with the homeless, so we can get California better again for people to live in California again. It's time to wake up. It's time to vote for the right people. It's time to say enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Next, Lauren Meeks Harris would like to talk about Leadership Roseville.
Well, good evening. Good to see the council again. And I am here with my fellow leadership, hopefully soon, will be graduates together. He is sitting to the right of me in the back with the American flag. His first name is Nick. I'm just here, we're both here because you'll see several of us. This is one of the largest classes that the city of Roseville has had in some time. This is about, I believe, about 35 individuals were selected this year, and I'm here along with Nick to just say we're here to complete an assignment. But hopefully some of these people will step up and maybe be applicants in the future for different advisory commissions, or maybe be behind where council is at some point, or where the city manager is. But anyway, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment on non-agenda items? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent item, and I'll ask clerk to read the procedures for the consent item.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All matters on consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be approved by one motion of the city council. There will be no discussion on consent calendar items unless a member of the city council, staff, or a member of the public requests that a specific item be pulled for further discussion. At this time, council has made no request to pull an item. However, staff has made a request to pull item 6.8, the Levine Act item, and have it be removed and not taken up for consideration tonight. With that, is there any member of the public that would like to pull an item for further discussion tonight? Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, we do have, on consent, we have items 6.1 through 6.7 and 6.9 through 6.16. Item 6.8 is being removed and will not be taken up for consideration. At this time, may I have a motion to approve the items as noted for consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor with the second. We'll start our roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Yes.
Councilmember Elverd.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
And Mayor Haldeshelt.
Yes.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much. All right, now we'll move to resolutions. Item 7.1, retired annuitant, 180-day wait period exception. And our Human Resources Manager, Director, Stacy Peterson.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm here this evening to discuss the need and development services to bring back a recent retiree in order to cover workload and assist with training, because we had 2 unexpected resignations of engineers in the department after the planned retirement of this individual. It's Kerry Andrews. He retired as an assistant engineer with over 30 years of experience with the city on September 9th. And the California Public Employee Pension Reform Act of 2013 requires a 180-day wait period before a retiree may return to work for a public agency unless the waiting period is waived by the City Council and approved by resolution. So the assignment and pay rate for Kerry Andrews meets all of the CalPERS requirements. The assignment is limited to 960 hours in a fiscal year, so the cost will not exceed $50,000, which will be absorbed by salary savings and development revenue. So with that said, staff recommends that the council adopt a resolution approving the 180-day wait period, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Does council have any questions? All right, I'll open it up for public comment. Close public comment. I'll bring back to the council. Any final thoughts? Okay. And then I think we're ready for a motion.
Thank you. At this time, on item 7.1, the City Council will consider adopting Resolution Number 23401, a resolution for exception to the 180-day wait period per Government Code Section 7522.56 and 21224. May I have a motion to approve item 7.1?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor with a second. Our roll call will start with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Yes.
Councilmember Elverd.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
And Mayor Haldeshelt.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
for your presentation. All right, next we have special requests and reports. Housing Authority, City Council, Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention Program Grant Agreement and Budget Adjustment with our Housing Director, Trish Eisen, and Housing Supervisor, Susie Cook-Turner.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor Haldeshelt, City Council. I'm Tricia Isom, Housing Manager, and tonight I have with me Susie Cook-Turner, and she'll be presenting on the HHAP grant agreement and budget adjustments.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council.
Tonight, I will be presenting the Housing Authority's receipt of Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention Program Round 3 Grant Funding, or HAP 3, and our request to receive and expend grant monies. In July 2021, HUD awarded Roseville Housing Authority with 50 emergency housing vouchers. These special vouchers came with additional funding and fees and were part of HUD's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. A successful piece of the funding were the fees that allowed landlords to receive incentive payments for signing a lease with an EHV participant. Roseville Housing Authority spent $50,000 in HUD-funded incentives and it recruited new landlords to the program. In March 2023, Roseville Housing Authority was able to rescope some funding with AMI Housing and secure $65,000 to offer incentives to landlords who lease to any Housing Choice voucher tenant. All $65,000 was expended and allowed Roseville Housing Authority to lease 51 new households and recruit 11 new landlords in a 6-month time frame. The California Homeless Coordinating and Financing Council, or HCFC, made available the HAP 3 grant funding, which is a $1 billion block grant program authorized by AB 140. The Homeless Resource Council of the Sierras, or HERCS, released a notice of funding availability in December 2022 to promote engagement between regional nonprofits to assist people experiencing homelessness in Placer and Nevada counties. HAP 3 funding should be housing focused, either funding permanent housing interventions directly or if used for shelter or street outreach, have clear pathways to connect people to permanent housing options. Roseville Housing Authority applied for $250,000 to fund an ongoing landlord incentive program. The program is meant to encourage private landlords to participate in the Housing Choice Voucher Program and create more available units for all voucher holders to reduce instances and durations of homelessness in Roseville. Roseville Housing Authority was awarded $100,000 in HAP 3 grant from HERCS. Roseville Housing Authority expects the same level of success with the HAP 3 funding, and there are plans to expand the outreach across social media, electronic billboards, and workshop. All HAP 3 funds must be expended by June 30th, 2026. Staff recommends that City Council adopt a resolution to approve and execute the HAP 3 program grant agreement between the Homeless Resource Council of the Sierras and the Roseville Housing Authority, and adopt an ordinance to approve the necessary budget adjustment in the amount of $100,000 to fund the landlord incentive program. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time, and I'm open for any questions.
Does council have any questions? Councilman Albert?
Yeah, I have a question on the new private landlord. Is that the very first time they use the program, they're eligible for $1,000, or is it per resident, per tenant? When they get a new tenant, are they eligible? Do you know the difference between?
Yes. With this funding, we plan to open the incentive to only new landlords who have not participated in the program.
Okay. And do we expect to distribute all that grant money then?
We do. We were able in the 6 months to expend $65,000 in 6 months.
So 65 new landlords.
We had 11 new landlords. In that particular instance, we had it open to any new contract because we wanted to get these folks housed.
Got it.
So now, since we've been so successful with that, we'd like to make sure that we are opening that up to brand-new landlords.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I do have one. On the very first slide, you had $50,000 for emergency housing vouchers. Is that part of our action tonight as well?
No, that was the special funding that came with the emergency housing vouchers from
Okay.
HUD. That has been expended. We've
Oh,
spent
that's
that.
been expended.
That was spent
I got
also.
a call earlier this week of somebody who's housed and unable to continue to pay their cell. I was hoping that might be a source of funding.
That program was the impetus for us creating this landlord incentive program because it worked so well to get our emergency housing vouchers leased. We decided, let's see if we can find some more money to continue. And the success rate has gone from about, 75% up to like 96% in the last 6 months.
Wow.
So it's been great.
Okay. Thanks very much. I'll open it for public comment. Seeing none, I'll close public comment, bring back to the council for any additional comments or questions. Okay, we'll take a motion.
On item 8.1, the City Council will consider adopting Resolution Number 3-23, approving a grant agreement between Homeless Resource Council of the Sierras and Roseville Housing Authority, and adopting Resolution Number 4-23, approving a budget adjustment for fiscal year 2023-24. At this time, may I have a motion to approve item 8.1?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start a roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Yes.
Councilmember Elverd.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
And Mayor Haudashelt.
Yes,
Yeah, motion passes 4-0.
I've lost my place. Thank you. Now, so we'll move on to item 8.2, Youth Sports Coalition oh, man. Somebody help me. Disillusion. Yeah, direction, okay. Thank you. And we'll have Joe Geller give us a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor
Jeff Nearson.
Haudashelt. Good evening, Mayor Haudashelt and members of the council. I am Jill Geller, your Parks, Recreation, and Libraries Director. And tonight we're here to share some information about the Youth Sports Coalition and seek your direction on its future. With me are Christy LaRoche, our Parks, Recreation, and Libraries Superintendent, and Jeff Nearson, Parks, Recreation, and Libraries Manager. Christy also serves as the staff representative on the Youth Sports Coalition. So at this time, I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you. So let me take the opportunity to provide you with some background and the purpose of the Youth Sports Coalition, also known as the YSC. YSC was formed in 2008 by the City Council as an ad hoc advisory group. The coalition consists of 3 Parks and Recreation Commissioners and representatives from 7 youth sports leagues, including Roseville Youth Soccer, Granite Bay Football Club, Roseville Little League, Maidu Little League, Wood Creek Little League, Pony Baseball, and Roseville Girls Softball. The YSC is different than other council-created advisory groups in that the council does not appoint its members. Each youth sports league selects their own representative, and designated alternates are allowed to attend. Representatives from the leagues promote their league needs and advocate for individual league requests. The group meets quarterly to discuss field needs, field allocations, and project reimbursement approval. The original purpose of the YSC was to provide an organized forum for open communication and cooperation between the City of Roseville, Parks, Recreation, and Libraries, and the sports organizations, and to make advisory recommendations to the Parks and Rec Commission regarding youth sports projects throughout the city. The leagues would contribute monies through participant fees collected from each organization to be placed in a pooled fund for improvement projects to benefit of the youth sports community as a whole. These projects would be voted on by the coalition members. Here are some of the benefits and member requirements. The YSC provides benefits to both the city and the youth sports organizations. The youth sports organizations receive field allocations, providing facilities for their practices and games. The city maintains and preps fields for these groups, providing quality playing surfaces. The youth sports organizations contribute a per-player fee to the city to cover the expense of field maintenance and improvements. A portion of the per-player fee is dedicated to the contributing sports organization for projects selected by that group. The YSC can make additional project recommendations to the city. In order to be a member of YSC, leagues must be nonprofit or a not-for-profit organization, 70% of Roseville residents with a minimum of 200 Roseville resident participation. They need to conduct open registration. They need to maintain a national and/or a state affiliation, and they must follow the National Alliance of Youth Sports or equivalent program guidelines. They must also operate through volunteer coaches, have a board of directors and administrators, and provide an everyone plays philosophy. As referenced on the previous slide, each league pays a per participant fee. This fee has always been divided into 3 different pots of money. To give better context to the per player fee, in 2008, leagues paid $10 per player fee. Today, they pay $22. Here's how the money was split up when YSC was initially formed. $5 was placed in the city's general fund for park maintenance to maintain high-quality allocated sports fields. $250 was placed in the general park maintenance project fund for projects at allotted fields as determined and decided by PRL. And lastly, the remaining $250 was placed in a YSC fund for projects as decided and voted on by the Youth Sports Coalition for the benefit of the youth sports community as a whole. This was the original purpose that made them a council-appointed group, since they were making decisions to benefit the sports community as a whole. I will turn it over to Jeff to explain the transition and where we are today.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. In 2010, the Youth Sports Coalition decided that $2.50 of the per participant fee that previously went into the YSC pooled fund for projects that was voted on as a group would now go into individual league accounts. In other words, the YSC would no longer collectively vote on projects for the benefit of all youth sports as a whole. Rather, the individual groups would now fund their own projects. Some reasoning for this change was the 7 leagues. There are 5 baseball, softball leagues, 2 soccer leagues. Between the baseball and softball leagues and soccer leagues, there was a large discrepancy of total number of players without equal number of voting power from the representatives. Since each project required majority vote to proceed, there was not enough voting power to advocate for all the sports equally. It was quite feasible that the soccer leagues, with a larger player base and financial contribution, might not get projects approved to benefit their leagues. So it was decided by the Youth Sports Coalition that rather than having one fund for collective projects, $2.50 of each of their organization's participant fees would go into individual league accounts held by the city. This would allow them to spend the funds that were contributed by their leagues on projects that would benefit their own group. It should be noted that the money in this fund is not general fund nor taxpayer dollars. These are funds collected from the per player fee. You can see in the chart on the slide how the distribution of funds in 2008 compares to what occurs today. Due to increased maintenance costs, plus an over-increasing number of sports fields to maintain, distribution to the general fund for maintenance has increased over the years, while the amounts distributed to the projects has remained the same. Practically, leagues pay for their individual projects, then seek reimbursement from their league accounts at the YSC meetings. The requests are put on the agenda as a voting item whereby a majority vote is required to receive reimbursement of their own funds. Because the YSC is a council-created ad hoc advisory body, subject to the Brown Act, they have continued to vote on these individual league projects despite the funds belonging to the individual leagues. This has created a hardship for the sports organizations to receive timely approval or reimbursement of their funds, since the group meets quarterly and recommendations must then go before the Parks and Recreation Commission. This resulted in discussion in recent years about the need for them to be a council-created ad hoc advisory body. Furthermore, the purpose of the Brown Act is to ensure public notice and participation in meetings. Since the YSC's inception, there has been little to no public participation at these meetings. At the July 27, 2023 meeting, the Youth Sports Coalition voted to recommend to council that the coalition be dissolved as an ad hoc advisory body. In addition, they have asked the city to continue to facilitate meetings for the group. This will provide the group more flexibility for meetings, will allow for discussion of items as they arise, and will allow reimbursement for individual league projects on a more timely basis. The safeguards for expenditure of funds will remain in place since the funds are held by the city. Receipts and evidence of appropriate expenditures will still be required. The group will still meet regularly due to the benefits outlined earlier in this presentation. Because the Youth Sports Coalition does not have the authority to dissolve itself as a council-created ad hoc advisory body, we are here tonight to request direction from the City Council on whether the Youth Sports Coalition should be dissolved in its current form as a council-created ad hoc advisory body. So you'll see on the screen that tonight we request your direction on whether, 1, the Youth Sports Coalition should be dissolved in its current form as a council-created ad hoc advisory body, or 2, the Youth Sports Coalition should remain in its current form as a council-created ad hoc advisory body. Based on the evolution of the Youth Sports Coalition since its inception, the YSC's vote on July 27th, staff recommends option 1. If that is the council's direction, staff will return to council with the action items necessary to formally dissolve the coalition as a council-created ad hoc advisory body. In addition, the group will continue to meet regularly with staff after dissolution to carry out its current purpose and goals. Thank you for your time, and we'll stand for any questions you might have.
Does council have any questions?
Right now, the Parks and Rec Commission currently self-appoints 1 or 2 members to the, 3 members to the Youth Sports Coalition. I used to be on the youth sports thing. And to me, it was valuable just because I got to learn what was going on actually down at the team level. Is that still the intent? If we dissolve it officially, are we still going to have our Parks and Rec commissioners be able to serve on that or not? What's the intent? I didn't see that on.
I think that is something that we are open to. I know that we do want to talk with our Park and Rec commissioners to see, as we progress forward, kind of what does that look like in the future for that group. And we would completely be open to having them still participate in some capacity.
Are they, do you feel like they're participating now when they're there? I mean, it's been a while for me. To me, it was just eye-opening to see reality of, the teams and listening to them argue and stuff like that too. It was interesting. Okay, thank you.
Other questions before I open for public comment? I think if I'm following up on Councilman Alberts, I think it's really about the communications, lines of communication, which it sounds like would be handled through Parks and Rec. So, okay, I'll open it up for public comment.
Council, Matt Bridge. I've been actually serving as part of the commission on Parks and Commission on the YSC coalition for past few years as chair. To attest to what Christy and Jeff were talking about, I can tell you that the makeup of the committee is kind of a revolving group. I don't think, let alone for 2 in a row, but even 2 meetings in the course of the year, did you have the same makeup from the leagues? And they really all they agreed that they wanted to continue meeting, having the open forum amongst themselves, but the benefit of being able to be reimbursed within a matter of weeks versus going through waiting for the YSC schedule and then a Parks Commission, which may not be every month, depending on what's on the agenda, and then having to go through council could delay reimbursement or if they're funding by several months. And so they really saw the benefit of being able to have that within, days, weeks, versus the current months. So between those 2 things, they felt it would be a benefit to do the dissolution. And I would agree with it. I'm indifferent on Parks Commission's continued involvement. I would say it's interesting, certainly, to be involved, but for the most part, I think the feeling between the Parks Commission is we don't want to vote. Several times we don't want to vote in with our own interest because it's really up to the leagues are determining how to spend their own money. I mean, so unless they're wanting to do something really inappropriate, which I've never seen, it really is not going to come up. So again, I support staff's decision there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I'll close public comment, bring it back to the council for any other questions or comments. All right.
I know we're talking about just having them bring back a proposal officially.
Right, we're giving them direction to,
So the one that I think we ought to try to figure out is, do we want Parks and Rec Commission on it or not? Matt said he's indifferent. I remember for me, it was just interesting. I thought it gave me more knowledge of kind of what the actual teams are doing. But
they said that Parks and Rec was still going to be involved, right?
And our staff are still involved.
Staff's
so yes,
involved.
we
You're
still have
talking
a
about
line.
the commission level.
Huh?
You're talking about the commission level, not staff level.
Yeah, I think we would need to decide, do we want to have commission on it or not? I'm open to hearing. I mean, used to be we have people here that maybe have an opinion. I don't know.
Well, the next steps for this will be for us to bring back the the meeting rules, because those will come out of your overall, the rules governing the Youth Sports Coalition will come out of the overall city's administrative rules for commissions and boards. So that's the follow-up action that will happen. As far as what will the makeup of this group look like, again, the group is meeting later this month to talk about that, and the Parks and Rec commissioners will be involved in that discussion. So I think they'll collectively make that decision of what the makeup of the future looks like.
Any other comments or
So
questions?
just so we're clear, you're looking for direction, but not looking for us to take action. Is that right?
Well, no, I think action, but to bring back a proposal.
Okay.
There's two choices, right? And so the direction of which choice, and then action, and then they'll come back with the action.
It sounds like you all have done your research and you know what works best and works most efficiently. So,
Yeah, but that's one of two choices.
If the recommendation is one, then
right, I'm in favor of your recommendation, the dissolution.
Councilman Mendoza?
I agree with the vice mayor. I mean, I believe the staff's probably doing their due diligence on this, so.
All right. I think we're ready for a motion.
Okay, thank you. On item 8.2, the City Council will consider dissolving the Youth Sports Coalition, or YSC, from its current form as a council-created ad hoc advisory committee. At this time, I have a motion to approve item 8.2 for dissolution.
So moved.
Yeah. I have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start a roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvord.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
And Mayor Haudashelt.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
very
Motion
much.
passes.
Thank you.
And we're at the point in the agenda where we'll open it for a second round of public comment on non-agenda items. You came in after we began and we had our first, it looks like you might want to comment on something that's not on our agenda tonight.
I'm not sure if it's on it or not.
Why don't you come up and we'll provide guidance.
Okay, thank you. I've never done this before, so. My name's Lisa, and I live in the West Park side of town. So I'll just kind of start with what I wrote down. I purchased a home in the new housing development in Winding Creek off Blue Oaks Boulevard and Westbrook Boulevard. And I specifically purchased a home in Roseville because of all of, sorry, I'm going to get emotional, because of all of the offerings for families. Great schools, safe neighborhoods for kids to run around in, trails for biking, running, and walking. And I truly believe that the city of Roseville has family values in mind when making decisions going forward. The traffic on Blue Oaks Boulevard and Westbrook Boulevard are already congested. The bike lanes are not clearly marked, and the speed limit is 50 miles per hour. And kids are riding their bikes and scooters down that street, going to school. Drivers already speed and tailgate and don't watch for kids, and it's just really dangerous when the kids are going to school. If a large business or warehouse goes into our backyards, literally the backyards in our neighborhood, the traffic will get horrendous in that area. My hope going forward for the city is to be completely transparent with us for what's going to happen in that area. With environmental reports, future ideas with the Panettone Company, and clarity with the language so it's easy to understand. My dream would be that it stays green, which I know it won't happen, most likely. But I do want a clean environment. I'm a cancer survivor, and I want a clean environment for myself, my family, and future families. Some ideas, I guess, because I'm sure it won't stay green, would be, well, we don't want trucks and all that stuff happening in our neighborhood, but possible software companies, kids' activity areas, commercial areas like shopping, maybe sports clubs or recreation facilities. But we do want more transparency, and it's just a very upsetting idea of what's happening in our neighborhood, because it's literally up the street from my house. So I was looking at one of the videos that you were talking about family and how you rode your bike across town on a trail.
Still suffering.
And, you know, it's what I think Roseville is famous for and why people move here. So anyway, I don't know if this is what the time I was supposed to be talking about this, but
So we take public comment on items that aren't on the agenda,
okay.
all right? Because they're not on the agenda, we take the comment. We can't discuss it with you. We can just take the comment,
Okay.
and it'll be on the record.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Even though we can't comment on it, which is very accurate, Mayor, I would, there's a lot of information out there about this, and there's a lot of misinformation. If you would, Dion Louthan, our Assistant City Manager, will give you his business card, and we're happy to give you all the information we have.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else, public comment, non-agenda items? All right, I think that brings us to City Manager. Do you have anything to report?
I will defer my time to the acting city attorney. Thank you.
And I have nothing to report.
Go.
Very well played.
All right, well, now it's time for council members to report on any committee activities or any other activities. Councilmember Mendoza.
I have no reports tonight.
Pop that on you right there.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, you do have a report. We had law and regulation last week.
You know, you're right.
I mean, there's so much going on sometimes we forget.
We could relive that. Our Law and Regulatory Commission did meet, and we discussed all of the wonderful things happening under the dome in Sacramento. That's going to impact us. Nothing major to report because I just came back from recess not too long ago. But we expect some of the bills to start gaining some traction, and we'll update you next month when there's more to report.
Governor has up till October 14th to sign.
Yes, he does.
They're important. Councilman Albert?
I got a couple things. I serve with Councilmember Mendoza on the Roseville Police Activities League, RPAL, and their big fundraiser of the year is the Bacon and Brew Bash, and it's going to be Saturday, October 14th at 5 p.m. at the town square. I think they have 100 tickets left to sell. They sold 400. They can handle 500 people. So if you're interested in going, it's a blast. And you can find them online. Just search for Roseville Police Activities League. I got to be the city representative for the League of California Cities. I think it was last week. I'm trying to remember. I think it was last week. And it was very interesting. And I think one thing I was just going to mention, they have like a big vendor fair where you can go down and pick up swag. And, you know, there's tons and tons of booths. And I thought it was hilarious because multiple times I'd be walking down, lots of people, the vendors are kind of sitting there and they're looking at name tags as people are going by. And all of a sudden they'd see Roseville and jump out and grab me and ignore everybody else on there. So, you know, oh, we do business in Roseville, or we'd like to do business in Roseville. It was just interesting that so many people knew Roseville. And I don't remember that in the past, so that was just kind of fun little anecdote I thought I'd share with you guys. I've been attending the district attorney's Citizens Academy, learning how the district attorney works in our county and how it's just very interesting. And I'm not sure what all to share there. They do a good job of representing us. Their hands are tied on many items. And it's just been eye-opening for me because I kind of thought I knew everything they did, but I'm learning a lot of neat stuff, so I'm enjoying that. Got to hang out with some neighbors at the Fittement Farm Elementary School. I got to be a speaker at their PTC meeting, and they had some really good questions. I thought that was a lot of fun, and I will save the golf tournament for the mayor to talk about.
Vice Mayor Bernstein.
Well, I was going to say I don't have anything really to add to that, but aside from committee meetings, I was down in Sacramento today for a GSEC meeting, discussion really around Bosch and the benefit that that is already bringing to our community, the fact that they have already other businesses that want to locate next to Bosch, and they feel like they have really energized activity in different sectors overseas too. So that was interesting. I think I forgot about kid activity stuff, but I was able to be a mystery reader last week at Brown Elementary. I feel like I've done a million other things. Had coffee with some of the cops today. And there was a lot of them. They actually did kind of their shift change there. So there was probably 12 of them, and it was really great to see. So it's really all that's popping off right now. I know we have some of us are attending the GFX tomorrow, which is a city-sponsored endeavor, and Placer Valley 2023 on Friday. So we'll see you all
Okay,
there.
I can cross that one off. All right. Yeah, every time you say something, I think of something.
I know,
So,
I'm forgetting a lot.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, I got an opportunity to go deliver dictionaries to third graders at Westbrook Elementary with the Elks. I got to lead the Roseville Homecoming Parade. That was, and there was a lineman by the name of Bernasconi that I challenged to some push-ups. He's younger than I am, so I told him to do 10, I did 5. Okay. We celebrated the Sacramento Groundwater Authority's 25th anniversary. I played a little bocce ball with the folks over at Stone Ridge. Bocce ball. Your dad plays bocce ball. Oh, I can see.
City, yep.
I'm addicted to bocce, or is it bocce? Anyway. We've had some really, and we'll keep the sports theme going this Saturday. Our REACH, Roseville Employees Achieving Charitable Hearts, will have their softball tournament. I'll throw out the first pitch there. Had an opportunity today, for the first time in 5 years, to tour Pride with their new CEO, Jeff Dern. Really, really uplifting what they do there at Pride and the work they do for the clients or their customers in the area. A huge organization. Council joined the CCJPA board in celebration of the federal funding amount for the third track project last Friday. So that we were at the Roseville Depot, and the federal deputy administrator for the Federal Railroad Administration came out, and the California State Transit Agency folks came out, and we celebrated that. My golf game is terrible, so Scott, I'm not sure why you brought that up, but we do. So it was Roseville Joint Union's Santucci Golf Tournament last Friday. I got better as the day went long, so on for that. Then the next day, St. Vincent de Paul's celebrated their 40th anniversary at St. Rose's, and a wonderful dinner and auction there. And then DWR awarded Roseville $8 million for our groundwater banks. And I think Vice Mayor Bernasconi said it will be more activities coming up tomorrow and Friday. And I think that's, there's so much, right? You forget, right? So anyway, that's what I have. So anything else? All right, then we will adjourn till October 19th, which, if I remember correctly, is a special day for one of the council members. So